Okay, I think we are officially live on everything we need to go on. So, hey, what's up, everybody? For Up the Lip, I'm Ron Thoman, and you're watching Over the Cushion. The show's all about dirt racing and all sorts of other racing as well, but we're covering news and, talking different current events sometimes and talking to different drivers of the sport. So, welcome in. We are live every Sunday, just like today, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on both Facebook and YouTube. And the full version of this podcast will be available, of course, on Facebook, YouTube, and anywhere else you can get your podcasts. So, Kyle, how are you doing, my friend?
We're doing good. Tired. But
Tired.
good.
You sound tired.
How are you, Ron?
I am
tired.
full of energy tonight, apparently.
Well,
I'm still hyped up from the NASCAR race.
Yeah, that was a hell of a finish there by Ross Chastain and C-Bell.
Unbelievable, man. I'm super happy for Christopher Bell for getting that win because he definitely deserves it. He's a top-tier talent, and now he gets to go for a championship, which is super cool. But also for Ross Chastain for just literally just sending it, bro. Just like full send. Like, have you seen any of the videos for it yet?
Yeah, that it was. I was watching the end of the. I was watching the end of the Formula One race, and my group chat started blowing up, and I'm like, oh, I better click over, right? And I saw it right when they started showing the replays, and I was like, I just couldn't believe what I was watching. It was pretty insane. And shout out to Ross learning that on NASCAR 2005. That was one of my favorite games when I was a kid. So.
Yeah, seriously, and like the in car is so crazy because he's pinning it down the back straight, and you can hear him shift when he at the point where you should be braking for the turn. He literally puts it into fifth, and he just keeps his foot on the floor. It's nuts.
That was crazy.
It's crazy, and the best part is he only needs to finish within 4 spots of Hamlin to get in the final four, and he passed him.
He passed him. I mean, props to Hamlin for him not just coming up and causing a huge wreck coming to the checkered there. Because
I don't think they knew.
Really left space.
Well, they didn't really know what was happening. Like his spotter probably was like, "Yeah, you got it, man. Just just drive it in."
I'm sure Ross's spotter didn't know what was happening. Like, I'd love to hear the audio back if there's a warning, like.
Oh,
if Ross went into the corner and yelled tops up here, bud, or something.
Man. It's like they keep replaying the Days of Thunder. Yeah, it's literally ripping the lip. We're gonna have to get him on the podcast after that one. Let's be real. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I could not because I was watching the final lap and I was like, darn, he's Hamlin's gonna get in. I'm not a huge Hamlin fan, and then I'm trying to get the kids out of my my wife's parents' house, and all of a sudden my phone's going nuts, and I'm like, what did I miss?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
It's wild.
But we had some other racing going on this weekend. I didn't really see much of what happened with the modifieds at Georgetown. Did you?
Modifieds at Georgetown? Yeah. So night one, Danny Buck won. I think Friesen and Shepard were kind of in the middle.
I guess Pouch had a bad wreck on Friday.
On Friday, yeah. So that was one of the big qualifiers to get into to kind of place you for the elite race on Saturday.
Yeah.
He started sixth, on that restart he started sixth, and Watt started third. Williamson took off on fourth. So Williamson and Watt were three and four. So Williamson took off, and Watty decided to just slide up to the wall, even though he started on the inside, and Pouch literally had nowhere to go. He was pinning it down straightaway in a half mile, and comes across his node, puts him in the fence, and he bounces super high, and then J.R. Hilbert, I don't know, I can't remember his name. He just basically ran into the underside of Pouch's car, and Pouch has 3 fractured vertebrae and stuff. It sucks. It's unfortunate because he was going to do the sunshine swing, and he was planning on going down south and stuff, and now he probably can't do that. He probably wants to just sit down until the beginning of next season. That kind of sucks. But
yeah, definitely can't be fun.
Friesen won the second night. I don't think Shepard even ran that one. I think that was a small block race. And then the Elite Series race, Matt Williamson won. Shepard got second, and that was a Elite Series race in the South Short Track Super Series South Region finale too. So he locked up the trifecta. You got North Series champion, South Series champion, and the Elite. So 15K for each of the North and South, and then I think 20K for the Elite on top of everything he's already made. And then we have World Finals next weekend. And that's the World of Outlaws, sprint cars, late models, and then the dirt car. So he's going for his 9th championship for that.
Wow.
And he pretty much has to show up and start the races at this point. I think he's got a pretty sizable lead. That's like another 20 or 30K just for the championship, not counting it if he hits any more wins.
Yeah, definitely.
Then he's going down south to like Louisiana and then to Florida. So have fun making the 700K. Seems good. It's funny. You see pictures of him like pulling his own trailer and he's in his truck alone, just like pulling his trailer to the racetrack. It's like, hey man, you do what you got to do.
Yeah, right. We also had the Slingshot World Finals weekend this past weekend. 4 races contested over 3 days at the new Pagoda Motorsports Park, normally a motocross track that they bulldozed a 5th-mile oval around some jumps.
Yeah, I mean, it looked pretty cool, except you can't see the back straight because they just like they made the track and then we're like, you know what, I think we're done. You guys, like all they had to do was just use all the excavating equipment and take out that stupid tabletop.
Yeah, I guess they didn't want to knock all that stuff down. There was also like some flagging stands in the infield, but what disappoints me is when they announced the event. I was super excited for it. They announced it as like a progressively banked 5th mile, and that was not.
There was no banking at all.
That was not banked. It was
zero.
Kind of sketchy looking. Like it was a very awkward shape, almost like a New Egypt or Volusia D shape to it.
Yeah.
And
it
it was dry.
The back and the front straight, it was dry. The back and front straights were just concrete blocks.
The wall.
So if you hit that, you're getting sucked in and flipping probably. There's no Jersey barriers. And then the turns were just, if you fall, you could fall off the track.
Open. Yeah.
It was unfortunate because they were like boasting of how wide it was, like in their drive around, and then it just turned into a 1-lane lockdown in the bottom. It seemed that way.
It didn't. I mean, some people there said they had fun. Some people that didn't. I personally, watching it, didn't think it looked terribly entertaining or fun.
No, unfortunately.
They also didn't really share the results very well. We got a couple miscellaneous pictures. I know whoever won one of the races didn't have 25 pounds in his right rear and got disqualified. I know Dylan Hoke won 2 of the races. I have no idea who the other 2 All-Star winners were.
The guy that won on Saturday afternoon was one of Brett Putnam's cars.
Yeah.
His guy that was driving. I guess there was a puncture in the tire.
Yeah.
And they still, like, you don't have 25 pounds, even though he won the race.
Yeah.
So, kind of stupid, but whatever. I don't know, just like all we wanted was just like plain text, just like, here's the results for the juniors, here's the results for the All-Stars. That's literally all we wanted. Yeah, and the only reason we knew who won is because Mike Feltenberger was there taking pictures.
I don't even know who won. I have no idea. I saw the pictures of the winners. I don't know who some of these people were. I have no idea who was in Putnam's car.
First night was Trevor Houghton in the juniors. So the juniors, it was Trevor.
I saw
Chase Zimmer, and then the last one. Gosh, I forget who won the last one. I don't know. And then the All-Stars was, you said Dylan Hoke 3 times, and then...
No, two times, I think. But unless... I have no idea. I have no idea who the person who won the All-Stars Friday night was. It was like a young kid, and it was...
Oh, it was Garrett. It was Garrett Shalat. He ran juniors this year in 2022 for points at Hamlin. Really? He's like local around the Hamlin area. Once he jumped into All-Star, he won the night we had a bunch of cars at Oakland Valley, and then he won up there, so that was pretty cool. It was like, it was not the same track that they were kind of promoting, which is unfortunate, but the only thing I heard, at least from looking at Facebook posts, was just like, I was running good until I got taken out. I was running good and then I got spun. It's like
I know.
It's like the same song and dance. Go ahead.
I was told Brett Beaver got upside down. I didn't know if that's true or not. I know Kerrigan got upside down. But I mean, other than Hoke, like there wasn't really anybody running up front. Chris Kurtz Jr. was in the S&S car.
The
I know
Midge
he
is
was up
back,
there
baby.
for Friday night, I think Friday or the first race Saturday, but then I didn't really see a whole lot of him the rest. I don't know, just kind of a weird event in all. It really mixed up who was running
Oh
up
yeah.
front in all the events.
Oh, Griffin Hendershot won today. I think he's still in the juniors. So yeah, Griffin. That's the one I was missing. So it was Trevor, Chase Simmer, and then Griffin. Griffin's also someone that ran pretty much the whole year at Hamlin, and he ran at Shell Hammers, and he ran Speed Weeks and stuff. Garrett Shalat, yeah, he won. Thank you, Tara and Alan. So going on, Alan. Yeah, I can see the chat, which is nice on Streamlabs. Yeah, so Garrett won the first All-Star, and then the Saturday afternoon was Brett Putnam's guy, but then he got DQ'd, so Dylan Hook won that one. And then I think Dylan Hook won the Saturday night one again, I think. And then I don't know who won today.
He won today, I'm pretty sure.
Did he win today? I don't know who won Saturday night. Then.
It would be a lot easier to do our jobs here if they just posted it, had race monitor up, anything. Like I'm trying to piece this together based on being friends with the 75 people that were there and trying to be like, all right, well, this person posted this. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's a bad look for the division. It's the biggest weekend of the year.
Supposedly supposed to be, yeah.
I have no idea what happened.
There's just no coverage. Besides, I mean, we're lucky that someone was there to take actual pictures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Mel Feltenberger. Yeah. Shout out to him being there taking pictures. That's great. It's just
other than that, like the only racing coverage were a couple Facebook lives I saw, like Dylan Hahn or what's his name? Is that it?
Dylan Hahn.
They were live for it, and then Jaxion Racing was live for it for some of the races at least, but I really only saw bits and pieces of stuff.
Dylan won the last night, so one of the worst weekends I've seen. A lot happen. So that's Colton Williams. He runs Shell Hammers a lot. A lot happened. It has not been talked about. I'm sure it has. Larry said Dylan won 3 races, and Tara Rochelle said Dylan won the last night as well. Man, it's just rough, man. It's just you work all year and then you anticipate this big weekend, and it's just not as anticipated. But hopefully we can make it better, and the community can kind of just rally, and maybe we can do it better ourselves. I don't know. But But shout out to Dylan Hahn for his championship. Probably the best junior season I've ever seen. He won Hamlin Track Championship, Linda's Track Championship, won a Super Nationals weekend, and won Worlds. So as far as juniors go, I mean, he had a ton of wins too, like probably 15 or 20 wins or something. So shout out to him, and then also Brett Bieber, the GOAT, number 6 World Championship, number 6.
Finish out the weekend. He packed it up and went home, and still won the championship.
That stinks too. It's like your world champion in the division decides to leave.
I think that's the only time since they started doing the World Championship weekend that somebody locked it up before the last race. I'm pretty sure every other season has been contested into the very last race.
That's because every other season it came down to the World Championship. There wasn't 2 World Championship events in one season.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, that's just how they did it. So it's not my deal. They can run it however they want.
I think Brett started the beginning of the year off. They had 4 races at Bridgeport. He won the 3 on the oval before I came in and swept up the road course on the last day.
All right, so I think we talked enough about that. Well, actually, you wanted to hit on real quick the electric slingshot.
They announced the Charger, the electric slingshot. What are your thoughts on it? Did you see any of the photos?
I saw some of the photos. I got them here on my phone here. The only issue I mean, not the only issue, obviously, but the issues that I'm seeing is that one, the driver's surrounded by 4 electric batteries. That's kind of weird. I mean, obviously, where the hell are you going to put them? I guess you could stack all 4 in the back. Maybe that would be like the weight of a motor, right?
The car would just be doing a wheelie.
Really?
Those batteries are so heavy, I guarantee it.
Really? Heavier than an engine block?
That slingshot motor doesn't weigh that much.
It looks like it's chain driven. The motor looks like it's right to left, like basically where you'd shift, where you would shift a 600 basically.
Yeah.
They say independent rear suspension. It's definitely not according to the pictures. I'm sure they just mocked up a slingshot and said this is what we might do.
So the shocks are now going directly to the bird cages, and then I couldn't figure out exactly where the pickup points were, I see one photo that almost made it look like they just used the front radius rods in the rear, which I hope is not the case. I don't think that's a good idea. I would hope that they would do something with wishbones basically to secure it, but I didn't get any good photos of it up close. Another thing that was odd, you announce a new type of car and then have zero press on it other than a photo of allegedly what the car is supposed to
I
be.
didn't know they were even working on one until he literally just said it was like 2 days before the event. I thought they would at least have
somewhere months ago, but that's it.
I thought they would have something together to like, you know, take a lap around the track or something, you know, like actually like have a I understand it's a concept car, but like like you already have literally everything. Like it's just a slingshot with electric motor, right? So like the only thing you had to work on was placement of the I mean, I'm sure there's a lot.
The batteries, wiring, all that up. It looks like there's a massive kill switch that's going to be right where you bang your knee on the cockpit. I don't really understand.
Everybody's going to turn off their cars.
I mean, it literally, there's a giant red button on the left side of the cockpit to me, which has to be like the kill switch, and that doesn't make sense where it's placed because that's right where my knee sits while I'm driving. But
yeah, I mean,
the batteries are in odd positions. I think the car is going to be very rear heavy, and especially with how high the batteries are mounted in the rear. And then they had to make new bird cages and like brake rotor mounts, or not brake rotor mounts, but like the brake caliper mount and everything for the right rear. It's just kind of an awkward. It's very cool. I would love to drive it, but
yeah, but are we going to have the same tires though? Like if you put the golf cart tires on it, you're just going to spin the tires. It's just full torque, right?
That would. It's going to be a lot of torque, yeah, but it apparently weighs the same weight as the slingshots do now. But, you know, my biggest concern is, one, like the dirt and washing the car. My second, like, a big thing is when we have like something like Formula One where they're hybrid cars.
Yeah.
There's a lot of safety that goes into making sure track workers and drivers are safe. So, like, firstly, there's lights on top of the Formula One cars that flash different colors if the chassis is not grounded out properly or gets electrified to warn people around that the car is going to shock you. And also, like, all the track workers wear lineman's gloves when they touch and move the car. So,
that's
you go to a lot of these dirt tracks, and the flaggers in the infield that, you know, are supposed to help you in the event of an accident are wearing, you know, shorts and a t-shirt or something.
Yeah, that might be.
So if the car was even, I've always said, like, if a car is on fire, this guy's in shorts. He's not going to be able to help me. Like, they're not going to be able to do that. So now, like, if they do start running this electric car, like, what safety precautions are going to be taken to make sure that this isn't going to end up getting somebody hurt? Like, are the track workers going to have lineman's gloves and shepherd's hooks to pull somebody off if they get shocked a little bit? Or
it might be like a Kutztown only class where like he's like the, you know, the boss there. So, but again, if you're running a Kutztown, you might bounce one of those batteries right out of the damn car. I don't even know. You know,
I mean,
like I can't tell if it's gonna, like, if the drivetrain's gonna get just clogged with mud and overheat or
yeah. I mean, that's the other thing is, like, on dirt, the electronics, they're not gonna like getting dirty and everything like that, and it's not gonna be something you can easily wash. And like, how hot are these gonna get if you're running this car wide open around a track?
That's why.
And you know, run 30 laps in 100-degree heat. When you have
true,
like a hybrid engine in a car, you have like an inverter cooler that is a normal radiator on a car that's cycling coolant through a cooling jacket around the motor and everything like that for the hybrid system to cool it off because it gets so hot. I mean, hell, when I'm using my cell phone out in 100-degree, it starts popping up on an alert that it's too hot.
You run one lap with a damn GoPro, the thing's like too hot to touch.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I'm not against it being an electric vehicle.
Me either.
A lot of people were shitting on it. I think it's really cool. I think they got to give, you know, electric stuff a chance. I've run electric go-karts, and while they're heavy and awkward to drive, they have a lot of torque, which makes them a lot of fun. So I think that would be great. Having a bigger platform like that with the slingshot being all electric, I think would be really cool. I think you'd also give up some of that torque through the chain drive. I don't think that's a terribly great idea because you're going to have people just going out there and mashing on the throttle, and I think you are going to shred the gears, the chain, blow the motor.
Boom.
You're going to have to that it just doesn't. A lot of it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, because when you drive the slingshots, you just like you're bam hitting the gas, lifting, and you're slamming your foot back down there. Like at least at Hamlin, you're not really like driving like a 600 where you're easing in the throttle. You're just like full throttle up, full throttle.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
I just don't know. I think it's going to be a lot of broken parts if they do start racing them. I don't know.
Yeah, because
I want to see it make laps.
Me too.
I don't know that I want to see it become a thing and race as much as I'd love to have electric slingshots and love to run one for the fun of it. I think it's just going to be dangerous and a lot of issues. But
yeah,
I digress.
I mean, that's the whole thing. They're like, there's no motor, so there's less maintenance. I really highly doubt it. It's racing. Everything's going to break. And it's going to be I mean, it is just a concept car to be fair. It's just a concept car, so they're just testing out the idea. Who knows if it ever make the track.
They're advertising it like they're going to try and sell people on this. So I don't know.
I pity the fool who's going to buy the first one and buy the first edition.
But
okay, so that was fun. We need to have more riveting discussions about electric vehicles in the future. Okay, so we have our guest waiting in the wings here a little bit. Today we're joined by Morgan Rochelle Bealer. She's a 600 microsprint driver here in PA. She's also been crowned Miss Motorsports this year. You've probably seen her in victory lane at various large modified and sprint car events, around the East Coast, taking pictures with different drivers. So thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. We really appreciate it. Morgan Rochelle Bealer. Oh shoot, I hit the wrong button. Let's see if she's in here.
She's here.
Oh,
I'm here.
Hello.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Hi. Thank you so much for coming on the show to talk to us.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So, how's it going? I guess I know you just raced the 600
yesterday.
Yesterday?
I can't remember the name. What track were you at again?
Yeah, yesterday we were at Blanket Hill Speedway. It's like, I want to say it's like more towards Pittsburgh. It was a good 4.5-hour drive.
Oh wow!
Holy cow!
Yeah. My weekends are like non-existent. I don't have weekends anymore. I kind of just go. But it was fun.
What's that track like? I've never even heard of it.
If you've ever been to Lernerville, it's literally like a mini Lernerville. It is awesome. It was really, really slick. Like probably the slickest track I've ever raced on in my life. I went out there for warm-ups and I went blazing saddles into turns 3 and 4 and totally went out of the embankment, and I was like, oh, shit, I don't know where I'm going. I'm like, my dad's probably watching me right now, and he's like, where the hell is she going? So then I got back on the track. I was like, all right, let's calm down because it's slick. Yeah. But It was fun.
That sounds very fun. That sounds like a track that I would like.
It was different. It was banked, but it was so fun. I wish it was closer.
Do you prefer like slicker, like racier tracks like that, where like it's all about the driver more so than who is?
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind a track that's locked down or tacky, whatever. But I like a slick track. I think it's more of a driver's track, and you don't really see that often, especially on a track that you can actually race side by side with people. It's hard to find that sometimes, and a lot of guys don't like to race on slick tracks, but I think it really brings out the driver in you on tracks like that.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things I kind of like about racing Wednesday nights at Shellhammers. That place gets slick a lot of the time. Even in the slingshot, it would get slick, and you really had to drive the car.
Yeah, I think it makes it like exciting. Even I went to Greenwood one year and it got super dusty, and I could tell these guys did not know where they wanted to be, and I was just making moves anywhere I could.
That's awesome.
How long have you been racing, and what did you start out in?
So I started racing when I was 7 years old. I started out in quarter midgets. I raced at Keystone. That was my home track, and then we traveled a little, and then as I got older, we went to Indiana for it used to be called QMA. Now it's USAC, but it was QMA sanctioned. So we went to Indiana, we went to Terre Haute for the dirt nationals there, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I started when I was 7, and then after quarter midgets, I moved into 270s, and now we're in the 600.
And you've also run the slingshot indoor as well, right?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
God.
I raced my brothers. At all 2 shows last year, or this year, I should say. Um, yeah, that was fun. That was different. I think we're gonna do it again this year.
You guys are crazy. I just see like
Yeah,
carnage constantly with those things.
yeah, it's different,
It
but
is.
fun.
Yeah. Do you have like any family that like historically has been in racing, or is it kind of just started with you and your brother?
No, so my both grandfathers, Paul Sandy Rochelle, he he raced forever, and then my other grandfather, Ronnie Dunstan. I didn't really grow up watching my dad's dad race. Grew up watching my other pappy race, Ronnie Dunstan, and then all 3 of my uncles raced, and then my dad raced, um, and then I started, and then my brother started. So it's like everybody.
It's just like a family ordeal at this point. Everyone's at the
Yeah.
track every single weekend
Oh
probably.
yeah. Yep. That's all we do.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you have been so I'm just trying to read here. So you have been Miss USAC East Coast and Miss Motorsports this year.
Yeah.
Kind of what are the similarities between them, and like what's the process of like getting that title, and like what are the responsibilities of holding that title for a year?
Um, I'm trying to remember. So, not that it was like hundreds of years ago. I mean, it was only a couple years ago when I was Miss USAC, but um, my friend Jana Schatz, she was involved um, in that USAC East Coast sanction for a while there when they first started. And then um, they were talking, and then she was talking to Kurt Michael about, having a Miss USAC. And then it kind of just started from there. And then they're like, oh, you should bring back the bikini. And I was like, that's crazy. No way in hell am I doing that. Well,
In
then I did
November.
it. Yeah, then I did it. And then they had asked me to do it again. So I was Miss USAC East Coast for 2 years. And then I ran within that 2 years, I ran for Miss Motorsports twice. And then third time was a charm, won it in 2022. And now currently still am Miss Motorsports. But it's kind of the same, but I mean, obviously different. Because I'm not just committed to one sanction. I'm going wherever I want to. I only had a couple shows that were mandatory, so I think two, maybe 3 shows were mandatory, and the rest I kind of just filled it out on my own and went wherever I possibly could. Um, I got to a lot of tracks, but I didn't get to as many as I had hoped. With the way gas prices were and
Yeah.
just everything being kind of crazy. So, but I did my best and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Like, is that open up a lot of doors as far as like sponsorships for your racing career? Because like, I mean, I feel like you get to meet a lot of people and a lot of good drivers and stuff. Has that opened any doors for you?
Um, I mean, like you said, like I met a lot of new people, made a lot of new friends. As far as sponsorship goes, I'm not gonna lie, I suck with that. So that's something I want to work on. But I mean, it opened the doors to meeting a lot of new people, and anything could happen. So I'm very thankful for that. But um, just the new people that I met. I mean, you can go anywhere at that point.
Yeah, for sure. Are you gonna make your way down to I guess the Sunshine Swing or anything the Short Track Super Series is doing down Louisiana or Florida?
So it was talked about. I It's kind of up in the air right now. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to make it or not. I know with the new job that I started, it kind of put a damper in things um, towards like the end of my reign,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of up in the air right now.
Gotcha. I would assume you could. I mean, I would hope maybe somebody can like put up the money to get your flight down there, maybe your hotel or something, just like ease the burden a little. If you were going, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be amazing. I think there's a lot of people that have a misconception of what this really is. Like it there's a lot of people that are like, you didn't go to this track enough. I'm like, well, no, I didn't, because it's like a 2-hour drive, and I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
money
they don't,
doesn't grow on trees. I mean, it kind of does, but not really. And you know what I mean? Like, you gonna pay for it? Because be my guest. I'd love it.
exactly. They're like, yeah, like you're Miss Motorsports. They're not paying you to go to every single track every week. Like I want to film at every
Right.
track I can. Like when I did the speed weeks for Slingshots, like I got paid for it after the fact. So I live next to Hamlin, like 2 miles from Hamlin. So I'm driving
Okay.
2 hours one way to Shellenhammers and back, then to Kutztown, then to
Right.
Linda's. So it's like a huge toll on the car and everything else. But like even if I was gonna do it for fun, like it's a lot, especially when gas is like over $4 a gallon again.
Right. And that's what I mean. Like, I love it. Don't get me wrong. It's great. But I think people they just don't use, I don't know. They just don't use their
Well,
brain sometimes. I'm like,
does
okay, buddy, you're good. Like, what
well,
else?
like they have a Miss Short Track Super Series. Does Deo pay her to go to each event, or like
That I'm not sure of.
that would
I'm
be
not sure
interesting
how
thing?
that works.
Yeah, because like she's like part of that specific series, so like
Right.
it makes sense for maybe Deo to put up the money for that. I don't. He's like a magician. I don't know where he finds all this money. Like he just like makes it like appear, I guess, or maybe it's just like it's just numbers on a screen at this point. Like I don't know
Yeah,
how he
I'm
does
not
it.
sure how that works.
He's crazy. Like he's starting to rival like some of the sprint car guys and their
I was
payouts.
just thinking of that actually today, how good the payouts have been, like with them.
Like
They've had, yeah.
I want to do that for people. Like I want to be like at that level where I could just be like, all right, we're doing a 10 grand to win like slingshot event. Let's go. Or
Yeah.
something crazy, you know? That's
Are you
Yeah, that would be insane.
are you able to run again for Miss Motorsport, or is it one and done?
No, it's a one and done thing.
Gotcha.
So next year I will give my reign over, to somebody else. So then somebody else will have a chance, and that'll be their year.
Yeah.
Have you heard anybody specifically that you know is competing this year or for next year?
Not that I know of. I know there's been a few girls that have reached out to me. Actually, the one night, it was the weekend of the National Open at Linda's this year, and I was getting ready to go out for, it was either a heat race, I can't remember, but she had just turned 18, and I'm not really sure, I don't remember her name, but she had just turned 18, and she thought it was so cool that I was there racing and being Miss Motorsports at the same time. And she's like, you inspired me to run this coming year. I was like, that's awesome. I think a lot of girls are just afraid. I was too, my first year that I ran, but life's too short. You just got to go for it. And eventually things will work out for you. So I'm not sure who's all running, but hopefully they get a decent amount of, women that decide to go for it.
Yeah, definitely.
It looks like the payout's not too bad too when you win. At least from that big check that you were hoisting when you when you won, at least a picture of it. So like that's a decent incentive. I don't know how long the process is. It's just like one day everyone goes there and does like pageant type things.
Yeah, no, the payout was great. I mean, it's definitely, I think it's like, this is really bad to say. I've been racing forever, but I think that's like the most I've ever won for something. So, but I mean, it is what it is. My dad was like all excited. I'm like, oh my God, Dad, you're like crying. He's like, I know. I'm like, I didn't win a race. He's like, but this is so cool. I'm like, okay. Like,
Gotta love the supportive dad, man, for sure.
yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, it's just a one day thing. The whole pageant is just one day. So it's a lot. You're there pretty early, and then you have the pageant at night. So it's a day full of chaos and nerves and everything. But then once it's over, you're like, holy crap, that went so quick. And then once you win the next day, you're there for the final day of motorsports, doing whatever they need you to do, whether it's taking photos with different booths and handing out newspapers and stuff like that.
What were some of your favorite tracks or races or events you got to go to this year?
Um, oh my God. I went to a lot of cool tracks. I think Lernerville was probably one of my favorites. I love that place. Um, although it was kind of, I wanted to sell some posters there, and it was kind of like a whole mishap when I wanted to sell posters. They wanted to like charge me, and I was like, okay, never mind. So I didn't get to sell any posters, but it is like one of my favorite tracks. I think it's awesome.
Huh. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I got there and I was like, okay, that's not gonna work.
So I know your brother races, and I talked to him during Speed Weeks when he finished third, and he's been having a couple wins, and he's really kind of really impressed me at Hamlin when he's in the 600 now. Have you ever raced against him, or do you plan to race against him in the 600 at Hamlin, like with both cars, I guess? Or is it just kind of wait till he's a little bit older, I guess, so that he can come out of the rookies?
Um, I'm not sure. I know next year I think he's gonna do a full season in the rookies. But possibly towards the end, um, give it a shot in the regulars, and that'll be scary because he'll probably kick my ass just like he does in everything else.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, he's just good. He just gets it. Everything just clicks for him. Like the kid's something else. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him progress over what I don't know how many races he did last year in the 600, but like as far as getting in fresh and then like 2 or 3 races in, he's like racing for a win against people that have been racing, got 10, 12 races under their belt or something like that. I mean, the competition obviously isn't as much as it was, like 2, 3 years ago. I don't know if you were around Hamlin as much, like 2019, 2020. Like the rookie division for Hamlin was like 20 plus cars. They used to have to split them into 2 features. There were so many rookie 600s at Hamlin. It was actually wild. And like all the people that are winning races now, they're all in rookies at that point. So, but I know like Nate Freed's going to be in there next year, and like probably a good handful of good drivers. So it'll be really cool to see him win his first race because I know he's going to win next year.
Yeah, I think he's super excited. I think he's got um, quite a few friends that actually might be moving up from slingshots into 600s too. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I mean, it is a shame though, like you said, that they don't get as many cars as they used to, because I used to actually race 270s there when they were still there. And that was like right at the end of the 270s. And um, yeah, it's just a shame the lack of car count that they have
Yeah, I think
for
Jenna,
each class.
your friend Jenna, used to run there too in the 270. I remember seeing her name a couple of
Yeah.
times. She was wicked fast, man.
Yes, she used to get that thing around there pretty good.
Yeah, this year's been weird with the car count for sure. Like I figured, like since they've been doing the videos for a good 2 years or more, like that would kind of like incentivize people maybe. But it was just yeah, unfortunate with the car count. I guess no one wanted to that little string of tracks down by Kutztown, like Linda's, Shellhammers, and Kutztown. I guess everyone just likes to stay around there. Most people are probably located around there, so they don't want to drive the 2 hours to Hamlin, I guess. But I mean, the track was nice and smooth. I mean, tough to pass. I mean, that's always been Hamlin, unfortunately. But I'd like to see more cars there, just like I don't know something. I'm trying my best. I'm trying to get more
Your
people to come
your
there,
videos your videos incentivized me to show up for the last half of the
and
season.
that's all that matters. And now look at where we are, Kyle.
Yep. Yeah. What so I know you talked about being nervous with competing for Miss Motorsport and everything. What would you say was the most nervous you've been, and was it, to do with competing with the pageant or with racing? What's more nerve-wracking for you?
Um, I don't I don't know, because I mean, I definitely think like being up on stage in a bikini in front of people that I do know and people that I've never seen before in my life, like that's pretty nerve-wracking, especially when you have to then pose on the car. And years past, like I've practiced the day of posing on cars, and I literally went out there this year and I was like thinking to myself, oh shit, what am I going to do? I don't even know what I'm going to do. And I'm already tall. And then I had 25-inch heels on. So I was like, this
Oh
is
my
going to be
god.
fantastic. Um, but I think that's probably the most nerve wracking.
Like, have you ever fallen off a car? Is that like part of it? Like, I hope I don't fall off the American racer here or the Hoosier.
Yeah.
Well, I was nervous because I don't I don't wear heels. So I was like, this is going to be like amazing. Somebody's going to see a show because I'm either going to bust my ass or something crazy is going to happen up on this stage. But no, I mean it wasn't that bad, but I don't know, it's just so nerve-wracking doing that.
I
But
couldn't.
I always get nervous like no matter what. It could be me racing at Hamlin every weekend. I still get nervous sitting there waiting, like anticipating the race that I'm going out for. And then once I'm out there, I'm fine.
I'm like the exact opposite. I can't tell you how many times I've just been sitting there before a race and fallen asleep. My first
Oh
time
my
that
god.
I went to run Atlantic City, I was just so tired. I qualified sixth. I fell asleep because there was a red in the race before us, and somebody came over to wish me good luck, and they woke me up, and it scared me, and I was just like,
Oh my
what?
god.
I was just like, I legitimately at any time could just be sleeping there, sitting and staging.
You're already in dad mode because that's literally what I do. I just fall asleep. All doesn't matter where. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Like that to some extent. That's how I get with interviewing people. Like I'll walk through the pits of Hamlin, like maybe 3 or 4 times, like in a circle, like a big circle. I'm like, I know who I want to interview, but then I have to talk myself into it. So I take a couple laps and try to figure it out. Like it's so funny because everyone's like, "Oh, I'm so nervous." It's like, trust me, I'm equally as nervous. All right. So as far as your racing career, um, like in the 600 specifically, it's one of my favorite classes. Like how many wins do you have at this point? Like it doesn't matter if it was rookies or not, but I guess like how many wins have you had, and like what was the most adversity you faced going into like either a single race or like getting like a specific win that really like stood out?
I'm not really sure how many 600 wins I have. Um, it's only a handful of 600 wins. Um, I know when I won for Gary, that was pretty awesome because I have my own 600, and then I also run for Gary Colucci, who owns the other 600 that I race. And that was pretty awesome because he lives in Connecticut, so Hamlin's the closest track as far as him and I meeting to race somewhere. And he puts a lot of time and effort in, and it's just him. And he makes sure that everything's good to go. Um, and I think that was probably the most awesome win that I've had in a 600 so far.
So he just loves racing and just has a race car. Like I see him
Yeah,
on Facebook, and like I think Kyle's talked about him a few times, and it's like a very familiar name that I've seen tossed around a bunch. But like everyone seems to love him, and he just loves racing and just has a car and says, "Hey, come drive my race cars."
yeah, he's a great guy, great family. I actually, my grandfather Ronnie Dunstan actually used to race for him, and so it's kind of like a small world, like way back in the day. And then some guy that he's friends with saw my name in the racing paper, and he's like, "Hey, what about this girl?" So he actually, Zach was racing a couple of years ago at Genesee with a sprint car, and I got this message about this guy asking me to race in Trenton, and I was like, "Sure, why not? Like that'll be fun." And then from there on out, I've been racing for him ever since, and it's been nothing but fun. He is probably one of the most laid back, down to earth people that I've ever met.
Oh, that's so great, especially for like a car owner. So it's not like I I don't know any car owners honestly, but like I could understand like being stressed out, either, both as a car owner and a driver. So like you as a driver don't want to junk his stuff because you're just like the driver, right? So then the other guy not like, breathing down your neck, being like, all right, don't break my stuff. I can't. One day I'll be a car owner, eventually, but I just like, I got to get in that mindset, just be like, just chill, like whatever happens, just go out there and race hard.
Yeah, he never puts pressure on you. He's like, just go out there, have fun, and do what you do. That's what he says. He never makes you feel like, oh man, like I gotta make sure, I at least finish here. Like he never does that. And that actually is easier on me because then I'm not feeling the pressure from him. I already put enough pressure on myself and I'm so hard on myself. So it's so cool just to have him just kind of be like, you know what, go have fun.
Yeah, that definitely. I haven't gotten to drive for many people, but I know what you're talking about with seeing it with other drivers, having the pressure taken off of them, or if they have a car owner who puts a lot of pressure on them, it can be tough on them and hampers their performance. Are you guys planning to run Trenton indoors again this year or next year rather?
Yeah, yep, it's on our schedule of places to be for next year. So we're super excited about that. I don't think when we ran Trenton the first time, I was fairly new into racing 600s, so I wasn't like super confident. And not that I've raced that much this year, but I've definitely got a few races under my belt in the 600. So I'm super excited for Trenton coming up.
Yeah, and are you planning on running the slingshot again indoor, or are you thinking about running a dirt micros or at Atlantic City as well on the pavement? Are you running any of the other stuff?
Trenton.
I plan on racing the slingshot in every indoor show except for Trenton. I don't even know if they're having them.
I don't think so.
But yeah, every indoor show that's having them, I'll be racing the slingshot. Gary talked about racing the dirt 600 micro for Atlantic City, but I'm not sure if that's a definite yes or not.
I feel like that's going to be a cool thing to see. I don't remember the last time
weird.
they did it.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to be. I don't know. I don't know. I see carnage. I don't know.
I see a lot of flipping over. I see a lot of rolling.
That's kind of the reason I want to run it is I feel like it's going to be out of control. I feel like it would just be fun, honestly.
Such a weird
I think it'll
setup.
be fun for sure.
What do you even do with this? Like, how would you even approach it setup wise? Like, what's the plan with that? You guys both run. I don't race, so I don't really know how to set up a car. But like, is it try to get it as low as possible and
I can't tell you that info, man.
Oh, it's
yeah,
secret.
I don't know.
It's confidential, man.
Yeah, I mean, it would. The micros are so different. It's not like a slingshot where everybody's on the same shocks and everything and same suspension setup. So, with the micro, you're definitely going to be trying to get it low, because you usually outdoors run them pretty high to get a lot of roll in the car to get grip. I think you're going to be putting super heavy shocks or bars in the car to keep it from rolling, because I think the car is going to have so much bite. And I have to look through the list of what tires they're allowed to run. I don't think they're the same tires that the TQs run. I think they're softer, so there's going to be a lot of grip there.
Popping wheelies, dude.
It's going to be, well, I mean, that's the other thing too. Depending on how you set up the rear suspension in your car with the wishbones and the chain drive, when you get on the gas, the chain puts a lot of drive into the rear axle. It pulls it, forward and up, and you can get a lot of drive out of them if they're set up the right way. So I think I don't think it'd be too terribly hard to set the car up for pavement. I think it would be fun to try and do that and then also race it. I just think it's going to be kind of out of control. But it would be interesting and fun. I'm definitely looking forward to watching it if I'm not running it.
That's wild. So you just hinted a little bit on your husband that races as well. What's kind of that, like, is there a mindset going into a race where he's racing as well, or is it just kind of like, he's another car I want to pass, or like another racer out there? Because like at the end of the night, you guys both have to go home together, right? So it's like don't take them out, or just like if like like are you gonna make the aggressive move and put the slider on them or something?
And it's funny because just this past, well, yesterday, we started right next. Well, he started fifth and I started fourth, and I was like, well, this is gonna be a quiet ride home. And then at Linda's National, we both had to run the B main, and we were starting literally side by side. But we're always in the mentality like, you're you're not my husband out there. I'm not his wife out there. We're both out there to do the same thing, and it might be a quiet ride home every single time, but we both,
So competitive.
yeah. I mean, oh my god, he's so competitive, but so am I, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty thick-headed, so yeah, yeah. We race each other, how we would race anybody else. No mercy.
But super
Yeah.
clean. I've never seen either of you get into any kind of scuffles or anything where like you're
No.
overly aggressive, where you're trying to like. I feel like the younger group that's doing it now, they're like, I can slide 2 cars at once. I guess I'll just try it. Like maybe not
Yeah.
Larson or something, but like they'll even in the big car, like Larson just, I don't know how he can judge where the back of his bumper is, but I don't know, he makes them slam on their brakes sometimes. But John Mirabelli is commenting. He says she's better than him, so I guess that settles it, right?
Exactly. He's not wrong.
That's great.
That's hilarious.
I just gotta be crazy because like my wife's not into racing, and also like all I talk about anymore is racing. So it's like I'm trying to show her the clip of Ross Chastain like video gaming it around the corner, and she's like, oh, that's cool,
Cool.
But
Go
like
take care of the kids.
I help. I swear I help.
Yeah, we went out to dinner tonight, and I was like, oh my god, I saw it on Facebook, and I showed Zach, and people next to us are probably like, what are they freaking out about?
Right?
We're like,
I was
oh my god, that was so
I was
cool.
jumping around. I was like, oh my, because I
was pretty awesome.
I turned the race off when the white flag came on, because I was like, they'll just, it'll be like every other NASCAR race. And then like I go on Facebook later, and he's just like, I watched the in-car, and he's where you're supposed to be at the braking zone, he shifts into fifth, like full throttle, and he's like, I'm just going for it, man. Like,
It was awesome.
I want to see Ross up here running 600 Speed Week next year.
me
He would-
too. We
he
got to
would
get him
just
on the show.
send it.
We gotta
Yeah.
we gotta figure something out. Like, we'll buy a bunch of watermelons from your watermelon farm. I don't care. Just to
right.
get you up here.
Yeah, he's a madman.
That was so cool, because like any thing could have happened. Like he could have like the car could have like broke off and like hooked the fence or something. He could have flipped. Like there's no guarantee that he was just gonna ride the wall, right? Like he was just, but he full committed. It wasn't even like
He was determined.
there was
I don't
no
know, I guess-
hesitation in that shift.
I guess shout out to EA Sports for developing NASCAR 2005 so realistically that he's known for the past 17 years that he could do that, and he's just kept that one in his back pocket until now.
Well, let's not forget the originator, Kyle Larson at Darlington. But like,
Yeah, yeah.
he's like, well, Larson could do it. I could try it, right?
I don't know. I'm thinking about using that one in AC this year.
I feel like I think
That would be wild.
I think Friesen did it in the Eastern States or something. He just like laid it in there and tried to ride the wall or something. I don't know. I think he got
Vaguely
second or
remember that.
something.
I feel like the only big car track I can think of you could probably do that might be Knoxville. You gotta
probably do Port Royal.
rail that goes. Yeah,
Port Royal.
maybe.
I mean, the only thing is you got your
Lanco.
regular sticking way out. Like
Lanco,
the stock
you could.
car. Yeah, the stock car is like, the wheels are tucked in, so you can just kind of, glide around. Yeah, did you see Lanco's putting new guardrails in, I guess? I saw them tearing everything down. I was like, ooh, they're going to do something different. Nope, they're just replacing the guardrail. I don't know what your thoughts, I don't know if either of you have raced at Lanco, or what your thoughts are on the guardrail versus like a Jersey barrier type wall.
I only raced at Lanco. I mean, I've been there numerous times, but I only raced there in the 270, and that's a fast, wicked track that you don't even have time to react half the time. It's just everything's so fast.
Yeah, I only raced there in the slingshot. will probably try to go there next year in the micro because it looks fun, and I've won races there in the slingshot, and been really close to winning others there, and it's always been one of my favorite tracks. I know this past year it's been really rough and bouncy there, and a lot of guys complained, and the car count kind of dropped way off. But hopefully they can get that sorted out because that place used to be like glass around there, which was fun because you'd have 3 lanes of racing and could run right up on the wall, and it was like glass from top to bottom.
I
I'm
think the biggest thing now is like, I don't know, like you said before about like guys kind of putting their cars there and just hoping it sticks. I think sometimes they forget that there's a car on the outside. Like there's an outside groove at that track, and they go to the bottom and they just let it come right up, and you're toast if you're at the top.
Yeah, I mean, watching like in-car videos and stuff from like Millbridge, like everyone's down there for the 10K to win, um, in the next day or two. Like some of those guys are just like they're nuts. Like, I mean, they are just like throwing it out there and just like hoping to say. I've seen them throw like 2 car sliders. I even like Michael Nolf told me he slid like 3 cars in one shot one time. Like, and even at Lenko, he said like you have to run the fence if you want to be super fast. So like you're on edge constantly, and that's just got to be like I've only driven like 7 laps in a 600, and it is nuts. Like I wasn't around anybody. I didn't try to pass anybody. I was just trying to figure it out, and it was bonkers. So like these guys doing all this crazy stuff is I don't know. It's blowing my mind honestly. Uh,
Yeah, I think especially there, like you sail it in the turn, you're hoping that it turns and you're not going to head straight on into the wall. It's different there. It's fun. It's different.
so we have a comment. Glenna Henry says, "Talk about her race next week." Do you have a race next week?
Oh, yeah. I'm racing for um Gary Colucci next week. We're going to airport for the 100 lapper.
Whoa, 100 laps? Do
Yeah.
you have to have a fuel up, or can you make it 100 laps?
No, they have a fuel stop.
Oh, okay. I was gonna be like,
Yeah.
dang, that's some,
I
that's not
think
bad.
years ago, Greenwood had a 100 lapper, and I ended up scoring it somehow, and I had to count the caution laps.
Oh my
And I
god.
don't know they've ever done it again. I was told that a micro at Greenwood can make it 80 laps under green, so we needed 20 laps of caution because we were counting caution laps, and we got there. So they made it 100 laps, including cautions, on one full tank.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know because I think to a certain point airport counts caution laps too. So, I guess it all depends.
Do you have power steering in that car? That's like my biggest concern is I don't have power steering. If I went and run that, I feel like I would die after lap 25.
I do not. So, I've only ran with power steering a handful of times, and unless I'm racing at a bigger track, I don't like it. Just for the simple fact, I mean, I'm sure if I got used to it, I wouldn't mind. I simply can't feel what the car's doing. That's just me.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you if the car was tight, loose. I don't know because I just, I'm not used to the power steering. And the first time I ever drove with it, I was like, I don't like it. So I don't run with power steering. Um, I think next year we might go with power steering just because if we're gonna, go to different tracks, especially like Linda's, Kutztown, um, the bigger tracks, it's rougher on your body and it doesn't hurt to have it. But yeah, I don't have it. So next weekend I'll be toughing it out.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot.
I know. Michael Nolf. I talk to him sometimes, especially when he's at Hamlin, and he's been running really well this year. He said he doesn't run it because of how much weight it adds to the car. I mean, he's a bigger guy like I am, so maybe that's an issue. But like, how much weight does like a power steering system add to the car, or is it just like not really that big of a deal?
Yeah, that's true. I'm not really sure how much it adds. But
Or
I have heard it adds a couple pounds.
or it puts strain on the battery too, or something, because you're like have another thing that the battery's trying
Yeah.
to work on
And
too.
I mean, you also might be that's an electronic power steering and not like a hydraulic like you'd have in a sprint car or something like that. You can also have issues with the power steering overheating and shutting off on you, and then you definitely
Right.
You definitely don't want to start out with power steering and then have it start cutting out on you, because that's gonna. Because I mean, one of the benefits to running power steering is it would let you put a lot more caster into the front axle of the car. So when you counter steer, it'll when you have more caster in your car and you're counter steering in the micro, it adds cross weight, so it plants the left rear, so the car drives harder. I know I can't. I've been told with power steering, people will run 19 or so degrees of caster. I could not drive my car with more than like 12 degrees caster in the front axle when I was running shell hammers. So I know that's one benefit to it, but like she said, you can't. You just lose a lot of the feel of the car. I know like Timmy Buckwalter won't run power steering in anything because he hates it. He like if he had the option to pull it out of a midget, he would. He does not like power steering. I was told he doesn't even run power steering in the Speedster, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I think
Oh
everybody.
wow.
That's got to be nuts. I think everybody runs it in the modified because he runs modified at Big
Yeah,
Diamond.
you have
I think
to
you
with something
have
like
to
that.
on those with those cars. They're so big and heavy.
Timmy's ripped. He is not.
He's just like stout, dude.
He's another madman.
Yeah, I saw him flip at Grandview the one time in a, I don't know, was it 360 or 410? Nasty, but man, that dude just keeps getting up and running hard. That's wild.
Yeah. Morgan, have you run any sprint car stuff?
I have not. Nope, not yet.
Not yet.
Any plans to? Zach, does he have a car?
He had his 305. He had it for like less than a year, and he had a win in it at Bloomsburg, but he ended up selling it. And now he's just racing for Gary Spots in the 600, and he's having fun doing that. But I don't know what I plan on doing as far as if I want to move up, so to say, and get out of the 600s. I talked to my dad about getting like a 602 mod. I don't know.
I mean, they have like the sprint cars that run the 602 motors. I know Mick DiAgostino used to run one. He'd come down from, I don't know where he lives, but he'd come down and run the 600 in Hamlin. But he also have the big sprint car with the 602 crate motor in it and run it, I think, Accord or something.
Do they run them there? I thought that was like a.
I think they used to. I don't
New
think
Egypt thing.
Yeah, I don't know if they do anymore. I know some
sprint cars that it was basically just the modified motor as a crate sprint car, and it had a transmission in it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
It is definitely weird.
But I think we're a little bit over an hour at this point. So I think we're gonna start winding down here a little bit. So Morgan, if you have any sponsors, anybody you want to thank, anything you want to tell the viewers what you're doing. I guess anywhere they can find you on social media. The floor is yours to just kind of tell everybody what you're doing.
I mean, I don't have that much more to add. Thank you for having me on the show, though. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, thanks to everybody that has followed me, this year, being Miss Motorsports, and followed my journey and all the tracks that I've been to, and bought some posters from me. I have about 25,000 posters left. So if anybody wants a poster,
do you have a website that they can come like buy some, maybe some signed copies?
No, but I've had people reach out to me, and I've mailed posters out. So they can find me on Facebook at it's just Miss Motorsports 2022 Morgan Rochelle. I think that's what it is. I don't even know. Miss Motorsports 2022 Morgan Rochelle Bealer. Yeah, that's what it's under.
Okay.
I have so many different social media. Like I have Instagram, then I have Facebook, and then I have my regulars. So but yeah, they can find me on Facebook. Just shoot me a message and I can ship out a poster. They're only $5. But yeah, thanks to everybody that's, followed me so far this year, and my husband, my parents, Gary, for being awesome, like I said before. And I'm excited for the rest of the season.
Amazing. Now, are you ever thought about doing like vlog style content on YouTube, like Manny Pouch? I mean, you go to so many different tracks. It'd be super interesting to like follow the journey, I guess, Because like I'm too scared to do it personally. I want to do it.
I think if I like I've taken a lot of steps, like I said before, of doing different things because like I said, life's too short. But I don't know, that just makes me nervous. It makes me nervous, like people watching me, and I'm like talking to myself in a camera. Like I don't know. I'd be like, okay, this guy's watching me. We're gonna just not even try anymore. Like I would get super super awkward.
I think it would be cool to see you and your brother do something, make some racing vlog content.
Yes, you two together would probably be exceptional content. You guys just like
I
messing with each
actually
other and stuff.
thought about that because he's so funny, and the stuff he comes up with, I'm like, people, and like I don't even know where he comes up with this stuff, but like he just says like the funniest stuff, and he's so involved in racing. I thought about it, so maybe we will. Maybe
you
I'll talk to him about it and see.
Yeah, maybe you could be his cameraman. And you could just post a bunch of TikToks about all the funny stuff he does at the racetrack.
I was gonna say he'd steal the show, so I would have to like be his manager because he'd steal the show.
That's awesome. That'd be great. Well, hey, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know we went a little bit longer than the hour that I initially anticipated, but appreciate you for hanging in there and talking to us about all sorts of different racing stuff. So it's really awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
You're welcome. And anybody that's watching, make sure to go buy a poster. Hit her up on Facebook or Instagram or wherever they can find you. We need to get these posters sold.
A couple hundred posters.
Yes.
If you need new wallpaper for your house, if if your Christmas is coming, if you need wrapping paper,
there's tons of different uses.
There's a lot of uses for these posters.
Yeah, there's plenty to go around. Feel free.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I guess for myself and Kyle and Morgan, this is Over the Cushion Rip the Lip podcast here on Facebook and YouTube. So we'll see you guys next week at the same time, 8 p.m. Eastern.